something that I wasn't totally aware of, but there's a scientific reasoning behind the rush we feel when spending a Saturday morning wandering through an estate sale or sipping coffee at an offbeat, independently owned cafe while we think about all the things we want to find while we're out there thrifting or looking for that perfect antique piece that we want in our home. It stems from a socio-ecological principle called place authenticity. Now, who would have guessed that it's a genuine psychological concept? One worth remembering as we venture into these estate sales and thrift shops looking for our desired piece. I would have never guessed that it was actually a concept like that. But thanks to House Beautiful, they saw fit to give it a justification that it is more than just a desire to have, but actually a psychological reason for wanting or having that desire to have. My name is Jamela. Thank you again for tuning in for another episode of Living the Lifestyle of the Thrift and Famous. And so when I read this, I said, well, let me just look at my antiques and see what was my psychological thought process on why I felt I had to have it. Now, according to the article, it said this intangible sense of connection to the past can't be replicated by today's standardized commercial options, which is true because when I go into a new furniture store, I don't feel a connection there. I feel lost and kind of bored. I guess because I love historical things and history, I feel connected to those. So I guess that's where that place of authenticity comes from, because it feels unique and the essence of it makes me feel like I am connecting my past with my present. And I wasn't always into antiques, but I do remember admiring my grandmother's furniture all the time when we went to her house. But when we moved into our first place, I went, of course, to a new furniture store and bought what you saw in the stores. And I started seeing it in the newspaper pamphlets that they would have. And I got sick of looking at the set just like that. And I said, well, I'm going to ditch this and try to find something more different. And that's when I began to seek antiques, realizing that's, I could change a look of something to fit my taste or make it unique. And that's when I learned about upholstery, and you could just go to fabric stores and change the fabric. And that was more exciting. And at that time, I was around 25 years old when I started really diving into wanting to learn about antique and vintage pieces, to get the history and to learn more of the era in which they came from. So my friend Joyce, I met her while I was in my search for antiques, and she is the one that I owe, gratitude to for taking her time to show me and school me on the art of choosing antiques. Joyce is the woman that is pictured here with my mother, and she's wearing the blue. Joyce was a major collector of antiques and could spot a good piece a mile away. And I met her by chance. I was taking my sons to the pediatrician, and while waiting, I looked out the window and I saw a sign that says antiques. And I said, well, I'm going to pop over there when we come out of here. And needless to say, from that point on, it was a friendship made in heaven. Her shop was actually her house. It was a 3-story house, but the first 2 floors were packed with items from her shop. But almost every single piece in that store needed to be rehabilitated. It needed to be repaired, reupholstered, reloved, everything. But the gems that I found in her shop were phenomenal. This vanity that I love so much also is a piece of hers that she had to refinish. It was sanded and some of the wood and it was chipped, but she repaired it, and this is a beautiful piece that I again will treasure. The French chair and the French lingerie chest were both pieces that I got from her, and thankfully the chest wasn't damaged or anything, so that was good. But the chair, this is how it was when I got it from her, and as you can see, it's an old piece. It was still stuffed with the hay and the horse's hair and all the other turn of the century stuff they put in chairs. And the Empire chair that's in my living room, this is how it was before I went and got it reupholstered. But, you know, again, finding the right fabric and the right look that you want for it is always special, because then it becomes unique and it's your own to claim. And again, I guess that's called reconnecting your past with your present, because I brought this to life the way I see it, and it has history to it. And this Chippendale chair that I got it from her, and it was actually made by a company in New Jersey, and I had it reupholstered lovingly in this cheetah print, and I absolutely love that chair. And it's at my mother's house. And my sister also got her whatnot shelf from Joyce, and these were considered etagères back then, so but a highly, again, a collectible piece to have from that connects you from the past, but yet styled to the modern day. And this Moorish lamp, again, my sister got this from Joyce. Like I said, she had absolutely wonderful pieces, but my sister had to have it rewired, but it looks fabulous again in her home. And this piece of artwork, which was in its original frame, again, got it from her. And, you know, sometimes even the imperfection of it makes it beautiful. And then her record cabinet, which she uses in her dining room as storage, again from Joyce. And now, referring back to the article, it says, what is place authenticity? Well, it refers to the unique essence of a place that makes it feel genuine, alive, and connected to its history, culture, or community. And that's how I especially feel about my grandmother's bar cabinet. I'm very connected to that and thankful that I have that in my home. And also another piece I got from her was my bed for my guest room. This frame was the last thing I purchased from her before I moved to the South, and I told her I needed a nice headboard for my guest room, and that's what I found. And last but not least, the beautiful prisms on my chandelier. She had them for decades, and I kept them for years until I found the perfect chandelier that they belong on. So did we really need a psychological reason for collecting or having what we love? I guess so, because not everyone is into having antiques in their home, so it must be something that is psychological for us. Do I dare seek help for it? That's an absolutely, positively no, because I enjoy my fetish. But at least now we have our clinically diagnosed justification while we enjoy our estate sales, flea markets, yard sales, thrift store finds. And if you want to tickle your fancy and read the article, I will drop the link in my description box. But in the meantime, just remember, beauty is being home and loving it. So go out there and find all your goodies. Thank you again for tuning in for another episode of Living the Lifestyle of the Thrift and Famous. My name is Jamela, and I hope you subscribe to my channel. Bye.